Kicking off this episode is the only game that's not a part 2 or 3 of a game from a previous episode, it's Swords of Destiny. I'm playing this for the first time despite having owned it at least 7 years beforehand. This is one of the games I acquired by simply being a collector. If you want to, you know what I mean. Someone knows you're a collector, so they give you games they don't want anymore for free just to get it out of their house. Starting a new game throws me into a tutorial. After the most basic things like walking, camera, jumping and double jumping, it goes into combat. Square is a basic attack and it can be pressed repeatedly for a combo. Triangle is a dash, with there being a unique combo for attacking out of a dash. Circle is dodge, once again with its own combo for attacking out of it. I can lock onto an enemy to automatically go for it when I attack. Now comes the aerial combat. When locked onto an enemy during a combo, I can press down on the left stick for an uppercut that knocks the enemy into the air. I can then keep pressing the attack button to continue into pursuit attacks. I can then add further pursuit attacks by dashing to chase them through the air. Next comes sword time. If my lock-on icon turns red, I can hit an enemy to enter sword time. All nearby enemies are knocked into the air, and pressing square even more will allow me to hit through them for huge damage, but it depletes my blue sword time counter in the bottom right. That's all for the tutorial, I can now start the game. I'm first given a bit of backstory.
For thousands of years, pestilence, war, and debauchery churned in humanity. Wicked demons called Gyaki lurked in the shadows. The Gyaki Empress stained the dark history of the continent, repeatedly ordering her mischievous minions to master the human world. One valiant soul stood in their path. His 3 swords brandished the power to cut demons in half. Facing the demon masses alone, the shrine mediums guided and protected him. Mankind was triumphant in the end, and the hero disappeared in the outreaches of Mount Ora with the swords that brought victory, where it is said he was enshrouded in a divine light. To foster a successor, he opened a dojo in the mountain. Word that he suppressed the demons spread across the land, and talented fighters soon knocked on his door. After rigid training, the master discovered a ferocious will in the eyes of his youngest apprentice. Entrusted with a heavy sword transmitting his master's secrets, he left the dojo and went out to gad the land on a long, dangerous journey to hone his skills.
Yeah, all that. Trying to compress that myself had it making no sense. A few years later, the apprentice, Lei Yun, is standing around at night when the Gyaki suddenly show up and attack. He uses the moves taught in the tutorial to take one down, but the dojo suddenly catches fire and there's even more of them.
Shifu! Taojian!
Can you hear the urgency in his voice? Yeah, we still got acting of this standard even in 2005. At the level select screen, my only option is Attacked Dojo. Cue a 30-second long loading time. First I break the pot next to me for a herb that slightly heals me when used. As I walk forward, we get basic Gyaki with these reverse grip blades. They have so little health that a single basic combo will kill them off. One drops a yellow warrior blade. I'll get into these more later, but these will be the bane of 100%ing this game. This game is very obscure. It didn't even release in North America, so there's very little documentation on the game. That includes where to find all the weapons, most of which are random drops. But I don't know from which levels and which enemies I can get them. As more Gyaki appear, I also get a flower blade. Breaking a lantern gets me 5 heavy spells that can stun enemies when thrown and make it easier for sword time combos. The last one I kill gets me a Grim Reaper blade. I continue through the path up these stairs, killing the Gyaki on the way. I approach a gate, but it gets sealed off until I kill the Gyaki present. A pot I break gets me red stones. Collecting these will unlock hidden extras if I get a certain amount. This fight is just the same demons I've already been fighting but repeated for a while. They all have levels to indicate their strength and health, but right now it doesn't make a massive difference. Once they're all dead, the seal is broken and I can go through the gate. Another narrow path with stairs. This time I get flying Gyaki to deal with. They're also very simple. I dodge the flamethrowers while keep moving forward, killing whatever shows up in my way. The fight in this room goes on forever, so I check my item menu to see what's going on. All I learn is that my default weapon is called Awakening. Great. How many sets of stairs are in this dojo? I reach another gate blocked by a statue. There's a pot with some killer spells, but I think I stuck exclusively to the heavy spells throughout the entire game. It takes me a while to figure out how to deal with the statues. What you have to do is kill an enemy in sword time and extend that combo as you lock onto the statue. They can only be destroyed in sword time. More stairs take me to a courtyard with a herbal medicine and a lantern outside. These heal more than a herb. As I enter, I get a new Gyaki. These ones wield bigger swords than the others. I also get a death neutralizer in a pot. These will automatically revive me at full health on death. They have more health than the others so far, but it's still not much. The second one drops a bandit suppressor blade. then more show up and I deal with them too. One of them drops a graceful tiger blade. I can't pick up the last weapon because the seal gets broken, and when the game fades back in, it's already despawned. I go through the gate and we get a cutscene. We see Lei Yun's master fighting off the Gyaki along with his daughter, Tao Shang, but the Empress shows up, naming the master as Yan Di. As he goes into fight her, the stage ends. My highest combo gets me an extra 7 red stones for a total of 12. Back to the stage select, and my only option is meet with the foe. The Empress tells Yan Di that with Meng Wei's assistance, Yan Di's fate is sealed and knocks him over. She then says that she will own Tao Shang's soul as sustenance for this Meng Wei. But Lei Yun shows up, making her teleport away and leaving a boss for me, a large Gyaki with a giant mace. He has various mace swings, including one that makes fire burst on the ground and create a ring that slowly expands around the arena. He takes minimal damage from my sword, leaving sword time as the only way to deal decent damage, but the window for sword time is very strict during his attack animations. It seems to only blink red for less than a second. At one point I get lucky and catch him in sword time, and the difference in damage is huge. The final hit of a dash combo will also stun him and send him sliding away a bit. Then I get the hang of dashing during sword time and take out 2/3 of his health at once. Once he lands, I get the final hit in to finish him. We get rewarded with another masterclass of voice acting.
A pure power entity, freed from my human form. My power is soon at hand. Never!
Shifu!
Oh, Lei Yun.
Your daughter's been.
Oh,
But your wounds.
No need. I feel it. Your gifts abound with force, and you've mastered the awakening sword.
Yes, with great skill.
My finest student, you can end this. The awakening sword will guide you to the 3 swords of Yi. Take the divine swords and do what is right. And Tao Zhong,
I'll save her. I won't fail you.
Yang Yuan means to destroy all mankind, so that is why Meng Wei has... if you can rescue Tao Zhang, Meng Wei will be... Forgive me, Lei Yun.
Shifu!
my spirit released, the transmigration complete. All mankind will bow to Meng Wei.
Lei Yun's actor sounds like he's trying really hard to not wake up his parents in the next room. I get 5 more red stones from this fight. The next available stage is the Mount Aura track. Lei Yun gets a message from Tao Shang. To sum it up, I can't fucking move, only talk, my dad's dead so you're the only one that can do anything. Kill him dead. All 3 swords of Yi are dormant in Mount Aura, and only a pure-hearted one can use them and free the divine beasts that live in them. Breaking one of the first lights at the beginning gets me more red stones. I move forward and get a new Gyaki, a kind of floating spiky skull brain thing. They're possibly the most fragile enemy in the game and die in the fewest hits. They can leave behind floating mines that explode when you get too close. In the next section full of mines, I break a dragonstone after breaking a light. These permanently increase my health bar. Moving forward I get the skulls and the bat things. There's also some more red stones to find here. After killing them and moving forward, I reach a fork. I go right first to break a statue containing the Trinity Physician sword. Okay, what does that mean? I googled Trinity Physician and just got results for a medical centre in Wakefield. Taking the left path gets me these smaller Gyaki wielding claw weapons. Killing one gets me a winged cloud blade. Killing the other gets me an ever victorious blade. Then there's the bats and skulls to deal with too. As I keep moving forward down the path, more of those two appear and the path further on gets sealed. Once they're all done, it ends with 2 more of a claw Gyaki before the seal is undone. I continue to follow the path, avoiding more mines and taking out more skulls. My next roadblock is another of those statues. It doesn't last very long. I follow the path again as it goes higher up, killing more bats and skulls on the way. At the end is another seal guarded by more claw Gyaki, then bats, then skulls, then finally some more claw wielders. Past the seal is another that's broken by hitting this purple orb until it fully lights up. Going into this door puts me inside. In this cave I'm shown the orbs holding up the seal on the next floor. There's only 2, but Lei Yun's habit of moving forward while attacking makes hitting them a pain because he keeps falling lower down. Once the seal is undone, I get some more Gyaki to kill. 2 claw wielders, then 2 more with 2 bats, then just 2 bats. Going through the door puts me in another room with a sealed exit and more of the same enemies. 2 claw wielders followed by a load of skulls with bats joining in later. One of the claw wielders gets me a heavenly eyes blade. The door it unseals is what ends the stage. One of the swords is here and it asks Lei Yun to prove that he is the one. All it does is tap the light surrounding it with the awakening sword to get rid of it. The divine beast inhabiting the sword is Blue Dragon and allows Lei Yun to take it. It also grants him the same mechanical triple sheath Yan Di had in the prologue images. Tao Shang once again messages him to let him know once again about divine beasts. She also says the swords Gyaki carry, the ones I've been collecting from them, are tainted by anger and hatred. I can purify those blades of a divine beast to use them against the Gyaki. The blade I purify will change shape into the same one as the sacred sword I purify it with. My redstone total is now 36. I now have two choices for stage 4, a challenge stage against many Gyaki, and one that actually advances the plot, Dragon Penetralia. I go with the challenge stage first. In these I just stay in this arena fighting waves of enemies. You'll also see that now I have one of the swords of Yi in my possession, I now gain experience when killing enemies. Every time I wipe out a wave, there's always a few seconds of rest before the next one comes in. I get a new enemy type in here, more flying enemies that look more like little dragons than bats. Along with blue skulls. These are a pain, they have a lot of health, fly all over and split into more red skulls. On killing the third and final wave, I get given another sword, the purple beard sword. I then just leap through the blue light, 45 redstones now. Now my only option is Dragon Penetralia. Before I can leave the room I obtain Blue Dragon, we can hear Yang Yuan's voice. Lei Yun threatens her with defeating her and saving Tao Shang, while Yang Yuan says she's safe on the altar in the Netherworld, but he will die here. After calling him a whimpering puppy, she summons a dragon for me to face. This boss was my first minor roadblock in this game. It takes very tiny damage from normal attacks and the timing to catch it in sword time is very strict. If I get close, it makes a flaming aura rise up around it to damage me. It can also fly up into the air and drop back down to hit me. Even when I do get it in sword time, it isn't that much damage. It can also throw fireballs. When I run low on health and go into the menu, I finally see my weapon selection. I take the chance to swap over to Blue Dragon. The Blue Dragon isn't very powerful alone, but it has very fast combos with many strikes. I get it close to death, but then it fires a laser that kills me. Let's just skip ahead to my successful attempt. I equip Blue Dragon as my base weapon and then use its power with the Trinity Physician Blade, which recovers health when attacks land. I then go into the level up menu, where I can use the experience I gained over the challenge stage to power it up. With my 1120 XP, I bring the Blue Dragon sword time to level 2, power to level 4, and air to level 3. I learn I can use my dragon power, the red bar under my health, for a big blast that deals okay damage, so I use that up quickly. Then I just start getting the timing down for sword time. It's especially a pain with that fire aura though, that one's always the hardest one to get, but in the end I even managed to get that, reducing it to just a sliver that I also wear away. Then we get a cutscene.
Yang Yuan, is that all your minion has got?
Enough to slaughter your fellow student. Lei Ting is long gone.
What?
Who the fuck is Lei Ting and why am I supposed to be shocked? Anyway, I hated that fight and only got 6 red stones from it. The only option I have for stage 6 is the Perfervid Tunnel. Tao Shang contacts me again just to tell me that the other two swords of Yi are called Raging Tiger and Flaming Phoenix, and that Yan Di fighting the Gyaki and striking down Yang Yuan was 20 years ago. She says that Yang Yuan, before dying then, threatened that she would be back, and Yan Di's suffering began afterwards, but she doesn't elaborate. First thing I do when I gain control is use my XP from the boss to raise Blue Dragon's sword time to level 3. Moving forward I get fighting with some skulls. Gotta be careful not to send myself flying into lava as I fight. As I cross these platforms in the lava, breaking statues, I get my first absolute potion that fully heals everything. As I keep going I get held up by a statue and the little dragons. Something to note is that when you destroy a statue, the enemies tied to it will also disappear if not killed yet. After this I raise Blue Dragon's air to level 4. Keep moving forward, keep falling into lava while fighting. Killing an enemy gets me shield spells, which I know for certain I never used. Nearby I break something for more red stones. As I reach this smaller cavern, just to the side high up is one of those orbs to light. Inside the cavern is another orb to light along with a statue that summons endless skulls. Since I give 30 XP a kill, I hang around here and keep killing them. I raise sword time to level 4, then power to level 5, then air to level 5. During this my Trinity Physician runs out. Aside from the Awakening Blade and the Swords of Yi, which are infinite, all Gyaki weapons have a durability level. Once it runs out, you barely do any damage with it. You can only refill it by grabbing another of that sword. After about 6 minutes, I finally destroy the statue. I get power to level 6 right after. Following this, I jump across lava to the third orb to light, which breaks a seal further on. I keep heading forward into this hallway. There's an orb across a broken bridge and I manage to fall into the same lava pit twice trying to get to it. And once again after lighting it. Then a tiny bit further is a second orb that unseals the way forward. After that there's even more jumping across lava. I get my first hermit potion item around here. This keeps going until I meet a new Gyaki, a floating spear wielder. First I ignore him and light the two orbs behind him. He dies quickly and drops a tiger fighter spear. The fight with the second one takes forever since he just keeps hanging around in the lava, so I move on ahead and find some red stones. I also light the last two orbs to break the seal further on. Instead of messing about with that guy, I move on to the next room where there's a statue waiting for me that summons more spear users. While fighting them, one drops an injured tiger spear. After many failed attempts where my sword time ran out just as I was about to hit the statue, I managed to break it and unseal the path forward. Behind the gate I can find a phoenix stone that increases my dragon power bar. Then it's the end of the stage. I've already found another Sword of Yi, Raging Tiger. Redstone total is now 73. 3 choices for stage 7, Windy Burial Cavern, Challenge Stage and Mausoleum. The challenge stage comes first. I try out Raging Tiger for this one and use my leftover XP from last stage to raise sword time and air to level 2 and power to level 3. Raging Tiger's sword time and air combat is not great, and its attacks are slower, but it's a huge powerhouse that kills every enemy in only a few hits. I like it more than Blue Dragon. Just from fighting the first wave of enemies I have over 1000 XP. I raise Raging Tiger's sword time and air to level 3 and power to level 4. I wipe out the first lot of the second wave in one sword time, getting a Stereo Blade. This wave includes buff dual wielders, one of them drops an arch enemy blade for me. I then raise Raging Tiger's power to level 5. After finishing the second wave, I raise its sword time to level 4. Using Dragon Power with Raging Tiger will create a huge explosion that hits all nearby enemies. The kills from this get me Flying Divinity Spear and a Water Assault Blade. For clearing the stage I just get another Trinity Physician. I raise Raging Tiger's power to level 6 before I leave. Redstone total is 82. The 2 previous stage choices remain and I choose Windy Burial Cavern, but it won't let me. A lot of stages have requirements that must be met, and some can't be met on the first playthrough. This one wants me to fully level up a sword's power, I think. These are either not translated very well or just deliberately vague, so I have to go with Mausoleum. I start by going up this winding path outside, taking out the Gyaki on the way. Once I reach the door, I go inside. In the main hall I have a load of skulls to deal with. I even get to kill a blue one for a nice 180 XP. During this I raise Raging Tiger's air to level 4. Up the stairs in the back I can find some red stones. After the skulls, it's a spear wielders to fight next. Once all the enemies are dead, I take the door up the stairs and on the right. In here there are some cracked walls, and I'm told I can hold the attack button for a charged attack. The wall opposite from the door breaks open to an orb that I light. There's one left from the door that I can break too. I go up the stairs behind it and take out some more skulls. Once I'm done there are 2 hallways I can take. The right one leads to a sealed door, the left one to a cracked wall with an orb inside it. Once it's lit, I return to the main hall and take the hallway opposite the door, leading to another door. Behind it is the last orb to light, breaking the seal. But first, the exit to this room is sealed by enemies. During the fight, I raise Raging Tiger's sword time to level 5. The Gyaki are the large dual wielders I met in the last challenge stage. I kill them to break this seal. More Gyaki spawn when I pass through the main hall again. While killing them, I get a tiger tattooed spear. I go back to the newly unsealed door and go through it. It leads to a smaller room where the next door seals off right away. Just more spear wielders. At this point, sword time with a Raging Tiger tears through them like nothing, and I unseal that door in no time and head into the next room. Skipping over the fighting because nothing interesting happens, I head opposite the entrance and through the hallway on the right, then through the door at the end of it. I ignore the door right of the entrance and go down the hallway instead through another door. In this maze I take every left until I find a switch I need to hit repeatedly that opens up a wall elsewhere. I'm on a timer though and the enemies waste my time, so it closes again. Next time I get through in time. Breaking a statue and grabbing the item inside removes the seal keeping me from this orb I light. It unseals a door just around the corner. I follow this next hallway to the next door and go in. In this next room is another timed switch that opens a wall, but seals me in this section with some skulls. During this I raise Blue Dragon's power to level 7 and sword time to level 5. Once they're dead and the seal is broken, I set off the switch again, but I find it also seals the room again. So I have to kill the blue skulls before they split to break the seal in time for me to get through that wall before it closes. It leads me to a previous room where I go through the door again and then through the door I skipped earlier to finish the stage. Redstone total is now 94. My only option for stage 9 is White Darkness. I'm still in this mausoleum, or at least part of an even greater building containing a mausoleum. Like the mausoleum, my first room is just taking a straight path and killing the Gyaki on the way to a door. In the next room there's an orb to light and these new ninja-ish Gyaki. While cutting through them with sword time, I get a 9-tailed turtle blade, followed by a white snake blade. I upgrade Blue Dragon's power to level 8 after this. After lighting the orb, I break the cracked wall left of the entrance. It leads to a statue containing a dragon stone. There's a door opposite the entrance that's shut tight, one in the back left, and a sealed one high up on the front right. I take the back left one. I dodge the spikes in the corridor to reach some red stones and another orb to light. It unseals the door I just mentioned, but it also seals me in this section with some Gyaki. Nothing new, so let's skip it. I go through the door I just unsealed. At the end of this corridor is a statue, but the giant Gyaki that acted as the first boss is now demoted to mini-boss. The statue contains a silver dragon key. The giant Gyaki's moveset is unchanged and I kill it. He drops a skyscraper hammer on death. I then raise Blue Dragon's sword time to level 6. I return to the main hall and use the key on the last door. Up some stairs to a door that gets sealed as I approach it. Just dragons at first, but then a giant gets involved too. Killing this one has it drop a forest dragon hammer. I go through the unsealed door which leads to a room identical to the very first one, just with different enemies. I go through the door at the end into a room where the path forward is blocked by 2 statues. I have ninjas and a giant to face this time. During this fight I end up with enough XP to raise Blue Dragon's power to level 9. This one ends up taking forever, because I either run out of sword time before I can hit the statues enough, or I'm starting it from a ninja but the giant gets in my way and takes my target instead. It takes so long I make another 1000 XP and raise Raging Tiger's heir to level 6. I also get a Demon Carver blade from a ninja, and from killing my second or third giant I get a Golden Eye Tiger hammer. It took me 14 minutes for sword time to work right and destroy just one of the statues, and almost another 2 to take out the other for a total of 16 minutes. That was in no way fun. Thankfully that's the end of the stage. I needed to take a break from the game to recharge after that. This stage was the only one in that recording. My redstone total shoots up to 123. My only choice for stage 10 is Cloister. Tao Shang decides to send me more of a life story at this point. The mother died in childbirth, then Yan Di noticed Tao Shang had the eyes of a Gyaki similar to Yang Yuan. Tao Shang's fate was cursed by Yang Yuan, and her mother's death was part of that. When Yan Di started the dojo in the mountains, she decided to try and overcome the curse. Meanwhile, Yang Yuan is telling Meng Wei of Lei Yun. He wants to go down there and kick Lei Yun's head in, but Tao Shang's spirit is still resisting him from the inside. Yang Yuan promises to deal with him instead. As I start, I have 2 floors connected by stairs and a giant coming out of those stairs. There's ninjas too, and it turns out, more than one giant after I kill the first one. During this long fight I raise Raging Tiger's sword time to level 6. One ninja drops a red-eyed lion blade. Right after grabbing it I raise Raging Tiger's power to level 7. Once all the Gyaki are dead after 5 minutes, I go around the stairs on the left and in a tunnel in the back of them. It leads to a statue containing a silver dragon key. At the top of the stairs I go left and follow the floor to a statue containing another dragonstone. I then drop down to the first floor and take the door on the right using the key. The hallway leads to a bigger room that gets sealed off with a statue. On one end of the room I can also climb up to light an orb. While fighting the ninjas down here I get an 8-arm blade. Then it's sword time to take out the statue. I move down the new hallways until I get sealed off again. I light a nearby orb which summons more Gyaki. A couple waves of ninjas followed by a giant and then more ninjas and another giant. I wish these enemies had names. Maybe they do, but the only strategy guide this game had was Japan only. I raise Raging Tiger's sword time to level 7 during this fight. After I kill them, it's more hallways to get sealed off by another statue. It's another giant with another orb to light nearby. I break the statue and killing that giant got me a tattooed monk hammer. Then it's even more hallways to a room with flamethrowers in the middle. I jump up to the left to find a sealed door and a statue with some red stones inside. I dodge the flamethrowers to reach the last orb to light. It breaks a seal on the door at the top of the stairs all the way back at the beginning of the stage, along with the exit to the room. It also summons more Gyaki and seals the path to said exit. Killing the last enemy here gets me a Stumpy Tiger blade. Taking the exit ends the stage. Lei Yun finds the final sword of Yi, Flaming Phoenix. That level was 4 rooms stretched to 18 minutes thanks to endless enemies. Boring as fuck. Got a high combo though, so redstone total is 167. Got 3 choices for stage 11. I can't do battle on the beams because I'm missing a certain Gyaki skill that manipulates massive figures. This leaves Eternal Tower and Enter of Netherworld. I choose Eternal Tower. Then Tao Shang continues her boring story, explaining what happened right at the beginning of the game. I like how she victim blames the people killed by demons with, well, they didn't train enough. But I don't know why she's telling me stuff I've already worked out from watching the first few cutscenes. Now I have Flaming Phoenix, time for some leveling. Sword time to level 3, power to level 5 and air to level 2. First thing I do here is climb up to a higher level in this room and find some red stones in a pot before the enemies appear. It's a new type, another kind of dual wielder, but female that can fire projectiles as well. The Flaming Phoenix's sword time and power are quite low, but it excels in air combat. It might be my favourite of the 3 to use. Killing the first of these gets me a Lioness blade and soon after I get a Witch blade. I kill enough enemies to make the XP to raise the Flaming Phoenix's power to level 6. And then after killing them all, I raise its sword time to level 4 and air to level 3. I head forward up some stairs to a locked door, so I go down the hallway next to it. It leads to a room that's just about identical to the first one. During this fight I get a white beauty blade. I climb up after it and jump through a doorway to another similar room. I raise Flaming Phoenix's air to level 4. In this room there are some new flying spear wielders, but these are female and actually have wings. They're stronger and fire projectiles, but are also easy to fight because I'm not above lava. Killing one gets me a golden lancer spear. As more appear, killing one gets me an ugly valor spear and the next drops a blue-eyed tiger spear. In the back of the room there's a cracked wall to break, leading to another cracked wall. Behind that there's a statue with a silver dragon key inside. On the way back, the room gets sealed off and I have to kill more spear wielders and dual wielders. Dragon Power with the Flaming Phoenix has me firing off many homing projectiles at nearby enemies. One enemy drops me a double speared blade. The fight goes on for a while and I get the XP to raise Flaming Phoenix's power to level 7. Then after the fight is done, I have enough to get its sword time to level 5. I return to the locked door and go through it. This room starts sealed by more Gyaki with an orb that I light while beating one up, but the ones in this room only stay lit for a limited time. There's also one above the entrance that extends out some platforms to reach the still sealed exit. The 2 orbs on the floor extend platforms to reach that orb, but a double jump and dash will work too. This fight takes forever too. The Flaming Phoenix is best for fighting in the air, but these Gyaki have an obnoxious amount of health. Once they're dead, I use the orbs to exit. I dodge the flamethrowers in the hallway to reach my 4th room that's identical to the first. But there's no enemies, just these 14 obstacles. There's a statue to break in here for a winged tiger sword. I take the exit in the opposite corner of the entrance and run to the next room. There's a port in here to a phoenix stone and another door to a room with a huge spiral staircase. The way forward is sealed with a statue at the top of the stairs. This one's a pain for the massive drop you'll have to climb back up if you don't pull off the sword time. During this, Flaming Phoenix's air goes up to level 5. Thankfully, it doesn't take me as long as it could have to break that seal. It unseals the first doorway going up the stairs. It leads to a statue containing a dragonstone and an orb that when lit unseals the exit at the top of the stairs. Through said exit is a lift to the next floor. Up here is a glowing blue doorway like the exit to a challenge stage. This ends the level. I skimmed over so much fighting here, so you may not realise all that was 25 minutes. Boring as fuck again. 193 redstones total. Now only Entry of Netherworld remains for stage 12. Tao Shang tells Lei Yun that in the years while he was away from the dojo, Yan Di's health started declining and his students slowly lost respect for him. Yang Yuan was spying on the dojo all the time, planning her attack for the moment Yan Di was too weak to fight and his students weren't trained enough. From the start, I go right into a hallway filled with Gyaki. The first one I kill gets me an evil Starblade. Here we have a combination of large dual wielders and the ninjas. In the room on the opposite end of the hallway, I get a silver dragon key from a statue, followed by a phoenix stone. Walking back into the hallway seals it off with more Gyaki. During this fight I have the XP to bring Flaming Phoenix's power to level 8. Also, thanks to this confined space, I actually max out a combo at 99. A few more kills later and its sword time goes up to level 6, and once they're all dead it then goes up to level 7. Once the seal is done I take the exit in the middle of this hallway into another one with flamethrowers, but there's just a death neutralizer, so I head back to the first room and unlock the door there. Once the next set of enemies here are killed, I go through it. After another fight I get lost as to where I even am in this circular room. I go through this hallway that slopes downward, but it's a dead end, so I go down the opposite hallway which leads to a glowing gate. Here I can go left or right, both lead to a glowing gate, but I go left. This takes me back to the first room of this stage, so I go back through the door I unlocked and retrace my steps to that room again to take the right path. It puts me in an identical room where I raise Flaming Phoenix's air to level 6. This time going right leads to a statue that seals me in this tiny room. I destroy it very quickly and go left through another gate. This puts me on the other end of that dead end I mentioned before, back in the circular room. But everything's sealed off. I go take the opposite path again and end up looping back to the beginning again. The problem is that when I destroyed that ceiling statue, I missed the silver dragon key inside it. Pick it up and go back. This time when I get back, there's another statue to destroy. 2 of them even. At this point I just want the stage done, so I use heavy spells for easy sword time to deal with them. When I destroy the second, a third appears, then a fourth. Destroying that one finally undoes the seal. I go through the door where there are 2 statues in the gate. One gets me a red stone and I go through the gate. That 99 combo helps raise my red stone total to 272. My only choice for stage 13 is Mystic Bound. Tao Shang started having visions of Yang Yuan's trauma. Her mother broke Netherworld taboos, including having children with humans. Since she was hated for being half human, Yang Yuan fled to the human world where she started interfering with mankind for power, taking control of influential people and consuming the souls of men to become empress. We finally find out who that Lei Ting guy was. He's a fellow student who got turned into the dragon boss I killed after I got the blue dragon sword. This was such a memorable reveal that I forgot it the second this scene was done. I even had to go back and delete nearly a part of the script saying Lei Ting was ever mentioned again after that one time. Maybe it's a dull English dub over these scenes, but this game's story is so boring to me. Sitting through these simple minute-long scenes are the hardest parts to script because I get bored after every sentence. I start back in the final room off to the Netherworld and I take the lift down to the spiral staircase. There was a locked door here last time that I can open with the silver dragon key I got in the previous stage. It leads to an orb that when lit unseals the other door I couldn't enter last time. The door leads to the real part of this stage that I can only describe as Hallway Hell. At this first fork I go left and up the stairs to a statue containing a dragonstone. The path forward is sealed off, so I backtrack to the fork and go right and down the stairs, then through the door it leads to. I go left and break a statue to find a phoenix stone. Nearby there's a wall to break. Behind it I follow the path to an orb I light. I go back to the door and follow the path right to a room that's finally not a corridor. In the fight here, I raise Flaming Phoenix's heir to level 7. Up the stairs is an orb. When I light it, the seal that blocked me from the first left path is removed. But the exit to this room is sealed and I have to kill a load of damage sponges to undo it. This is a problem by this point. Sword time and dragon power have now become the only way to deal reasonable damage at all. I mean, obviously they were important before, but it didn't dominate my list of decent options until around the previous stage. I feel like my options to have fun with the combat dwindle as the game goes on. One long boring fight and one long boring backtrack later, I make it to where the seal was and get going. There's a door in front and 2 rooms to the side. The room to the left gets me sealed in with more Gyaki, and since I have about 2/3 of the weapons in the game, I'm getting less things to point out. Although I do get something new in this one, a Panther Head Spear. Once the seal is broken, I try the right room, which also seals me in. This time nothing happens and when I've killed them all, I get a golden dragon key. I have another XP to bring Flaming Phoenix's power to level 9 and I use that key to unlock this door and find out the level still isn't done. But luckily in the next small room, I nudge the next door while fighting enemies and finish the level. Redstone total is 294. For stage 14 we have Evil Flower. Here we finally confront Yang Yuan.
Well, look who's here. Losing that power will be most disappointing. For I'll feast on your soul, and you'll meet the same fate as her. And we will live together for all eternity.
There's no path for us in this life.
What? Speak up, dickhead. And if you could emote, that'd be nice too.
You do.
Okay, you're just taking the piss now. Also, in the realm of shit insults, you babbling humanoid is up there. So, Yang Yuan. She mostly tries to stay away from me, firing multiple easily dodged homing projectiles. It's been a while since I fought a boss, and this one keeps the property of having non-sword time attacks do pathetic damage. I find she's easier to get sword time with than the last boss though, and take 80% of her health at once. She tries charging up this Meteor Storm spell, but I get her in another sword time and finish her before it can do anything. She collapses while being covered in a black smoke. End of stage, 309 red stones. Stage 15 is 6 eyes. Yang Yuan isn't done yet as she transforms into a second form. Despite being a completely different shape, she fights very similarly to before. She still tries to stay away from me and can call down meteors. She'll also try hitting me with her staff. I swap my sub-weapon to the Tattooed Monk Hammer, which boosts sword time in exchange for draining dragon power. And I need it, because I have a harder time getting her in sword time in this form. But when I do, that extra boost lets me take out all her remaining health in one. Before she dies, she threatens that the power of the Swords of Yi will consume Lei Yun. Meng Wei eats her essence, sick of her whining. The middle of the room then teleports Lei Yun to the Netherworld. Redstone total is now 326. 3 choices for stage 16. Battle of the Hero I can't do yet and it can fuck off. That stage requires obtaining all Gyaki weapons and I've already explained how much a pain in the ass dealing with RNG to get them is. Then there's Gyaki Lair and a challenge stage. I go with challenge stage. At the start I use all the XP I saved up to increase Flaming Phoenix's power to level max. Nothing much to say about this one, just a load of returning enemies. Giants are now in these for the first time too. While fighting 2 of them, I raise Flaming Phoenix's sword time to level 8. Raging Tiger is still good for the giants, as when they're alone, the basic combo can stunlock them to death. I get no new weapons from this stage, even the final reward is a duplicate. I did get a lot of XP though, and I raised Flaming Phoenix's sword time to level 9. Redstone total goes up to 382. Only option for stage 17 is Gyaki Lair. I start off in a sealed room. The first enemy I kill drops an elegant panther blade. In this fight I raise Blue Dragon's heir to level 7. Further in the fight, one drops a 9 Dragon's blade. Not long after, I also get a blue-faced beast blade. Soon after that, I kill the last Gyaki and the door right of the entrance is unsealed. This is a simple hallway with some enemies inside. In here I learned that an enemy can send me flying through a door into another room. It also despawned the remaining enemies in the room I got knocked out of. In the next room, I break open the door to the left and hit a time switch to create a platform to a sealed door back in the first room. I break open the door on the right for a switch that undoes said seal, but as I try going back through the hallway, it gets sealed and I have another long fight to do. Nothing of note happens, moving on. The dickhead platform runs out of time just as I reach it. On the way back to the switch, I raise Flaming Phoenix's heir to level 8. The sealed hallway turns out to be part of the timing challenge, so pressing the switch again makes me do the fight again. This time I just use the heavy spells to get through it as quick as I can. This time I make it up. Going to the right gets me a dragonstone, and going to the left has me climb up to a gate. It puts me on a bridge above the first room. Don't fucking fall or you're repeating that shit again. Across the bridge is another hallway that seals as soon as I enter. No happens, I deal with it and move on. The door left of the entrance is locked, so I take the hallway opposite. At the end I go left to climb to a high level and jump a gap to the other side, trying to avoid being blown up. Across the gap is a golden dragon key and I use it to unlock the door. Up the stairs and in the next room, a seal is activated. I raise Flaming Phoenix's sword time to level max. During this fight I get a beautiful beard blade. Once the seal is broken, I go up some stairs to an orb. When lit, it extends a platform out, but also makes me skid along it and fall back to the start of the previous room. It allows me to jump to a time switch that extends a platform below another time switch, but the time it took to backtrack here used up the orb's time and the platform I'm standing on drops me down again. Reminder, I didn't drop down myself the first time, the game pushed me off while it took control from me. Let's skip ahead to me doing it right. I hit the other switch which unseals a door, I jump up and go through. In here I can grab some red stones and finish the level. That last thing took a few attempts because of the glitch and it really pissed me off. Redstone total is 417. Stage 18 is Netherworld Palace. Tao Shan decides to remind me she exists by just asking me to kill Meng Wei. I start off with 2 open doorways to the front and left and a door to the right sealed by a statue. I climb up into the rafters and find a Phoenix Stone. The room to the left gets me some red stones and the one opposite the entrance has a closed gate. The statue is in the rafters and I destroy it. I go through where I'm sealed in again. I kill the first wave of spear wielders and use the XP to raise Raging Tiger's sword time to level 8. After taking out a wave of giants and then female spear wielders, I have the XP to raise Raging Tiger's heir to level 7. Killing the last giant gets me a spearhead hammer. Those previous 8 sentences describing the entire level so far covered about 10 minutes of repetitive fight footage. With the seal broken, I take the hallway left of the entrance to a gate. It puts me in another section of this room with some spear wielders. I exit into this hallway and follow it around to another door. I get some red stones and go through another door. This room is identical to the last, but has a seal that needs to be broken. One fight later, I go through the door. Another identical room and I go through another door to the teleporter that ends the level. Redstones go up to 501. And for stage 19 we have the final battle, Divine Swords. We can see Tao Shan, but Meng Wei is in our way. He brags a bit and Lei Yun's actor misses the context of this line.
Meng Wei, who are you?
As if he has no idea what's even going on. More threats then fight. He can dash like me and surround himself with lightning. I raise Flaming Phoenix's heir to level 9 and equip it with the Spearhead Hammer to boost it even more. I get lucky and catch him with sword time right away for about 20% of his health. For a long while all he does is dash and lightning, but he will eventually create a ring of fire from the ground and start sending out waves of lightning instead of just surrounding himself in it. That last attack is also way louder than anything else in the game for some reason. He'll start floating and shooting fireballs at me. After torturing my ears with several lightning attacks, I get him in another sword time and reduce him to around 15%. I don't get him in another, so it's several minutes of slowly whittling away that last bit until he's done.
Lei Yun!
Shifu?
Forgive me, Lei Yun. I feared Yang Yuan's return and wanted to gain enormous unbridled power. Do not make the same error. Now take Gao Qiang out of here. I shall seal the gate to the Netherworld.
Tao Jiang!
Lei Yun.
You're fine now. Tao Jiang!
Lei Yun!
We, the Swords of Yi, find you suitable to gain our power and righteousness. We will grant anything to you. Ultimate power, or eternal life, or superior intellect?
No, my hands now hold what I need. I no longer need you. I want for nothing.
Very well. That too is one option. We will return to our slumber and wait for the day mankind seeks our help.
So, Meng Wei was Yan Di all along, but if Meng Wei existed before Yan Di... Fuck it, I don't care to make sense of this. Maybe all the stuff that made sense was lost in the shoddy localization, but I doubt it. Also, way to waste a wish for literally anything, dickhead. I bet he thought of something right after they left and he was left kicking himself. So I beat the game, but I'm far from done. There's many extra levels, including the ones that tease me by not letting me access them yet. Plus there's the remaining weapons to collect. After the credits, my redstone count is now 519. I unlocked a hard mode, but playing it gets you nothing, so I'm not bothering. The Absolute Sword was added to my inventory, and I unlocked a sound test in the extras menu. So now for my first New Game Plus. I have two new options for my first stage, a challenge stage and burning passage. I go with the challenge stage. I equip the Absolute Sword, which changes Lei Yun's appearance entirely. The first strike of the Absolute Sword automatically triggers sword time. It's funny, this completely strips the game of what was supposed to be its nuances, but it actually just makes the game more enjoyable because those nuances didn't work very well and were a pain in the arse. No more having to deal with microsecond long sword time windows to do any damage at all. During this, I raised Blue Dragon's sword time to level 7 and air to level 8. During I think the third wave, a Gaki drops a red-haired Devil Blade for me. A minute later, Blue Dragon's power goes to level max. Reward is not new, and redstones are at 528. Now to see what Burning Passage is about. It's basically a remix of Attack Dojo. A new layout, but made from mostly the same assets. Most of the new stages are like this. I actually swapped back to Flaming Phoenix, thinking I may be cheating using the Absolute Sword. I follow the stairs to a statue sealing the path forward. While trying to sword time these giants, I decide fuck it. You cannot start this level without owning the Absolute Sword in the first place. This is the devs showing me mercy. I break the statue and continue. There's some red stones from breaking a lantern. I keep following the path and find a silver dragon key. I cross a fiery gap and find a dragon stone in a lantern. I then use the key to unlock the nearby door. I'm sealed in the next room by another statue. There's some red stones in a pot in the corner, and while fighting, I raise Blue Dragon's air to level 9. I take out that statue and get moving. I follow the path to another courtyard that seals me in and very easily kill them all. After this, I bring Raging Tiger's air up to level 8, and that door ends the level. Redstones at 609. I have to do Meet with the Foe again, but it goes very quickly. Redstones at 619. For stage 4, I have two new choices, 4 Yard of the Statue and Labyrinth of the Dragon. The latter is locked until I obtain a two-headed snake sword, so 4 Yard of the Statue it is. I run up some stairs to be sealed off by a statue. I use the infinite spawning the statue's gauze to get my 99 combo with the Flaming Phoenix, then swap back to the Absolute Sword to destroy them. If my combo at the end of a stage ever says 99 again, it's because I did it in that stage too. I break the statue and get going down the next hallway, breaking another statue for more redstones on the way. It leads to another sealed room to wipe out. I then take the door after the seal is broken. The first statue I pass gets me some more redstones. I take the hallway to a switch that raises me up to a sealed door. Opposite the statue and to the left takes me into a maze. 2 more lefts and through a spiky corridor take me to a door. In here is a time switch that unseals that door. It also walls off my route here and opens up walls everywhere else in the maze. From the door to this room I go left some more switches that open this wall. But it's 2 lefts, both marked by red stones, to take me back to the door. The next room seals me in for another fight. During said fight, Blue Dragon's air gets raised to level max. After breaking the seal, the door after it leads to the end of the stage. Redstones get a huge boost to 705. Dragon Penetralia is next and unchanged. And I already forgot that this guy is another student that we never see or hear of alive, and that somehow means we're supposed to care. I'm more glad that the easy sword time lets me get revenge for how much a pain in the arse he was. Redstones at 717. Once again, my only choice for stage 6 is Perfidid Tunnel. Nothing happens, redstones at 730. This time I'm allowed to choose Windy Burial Cavern. I head forward into a seal and get killing. Blue Dragon sword time also goes up to level 8. Killing them all unseals 2 exits. I take the right one first, letting me grab a Dragonstone. Returning to the room I was just in spawns a statue and seals off progression again. The first Gaki I kill drops me a Leaping Tiger Blade. Once I break the statue, I take the left path and go up the stairs, jumping the gap to climb higher in this room. There's some red stones on the way. The corridor at the top leads to a circular room. Once I kill a shitload of Gaki, I get climbing higher again. Once again, the top of the room leads to another corridor that takes me even higher up into this room. A lot of backtracking if I fall. First I light the orb opposite of where I enter, I jump across to another orb and light that, and next to it I can find a Phoenix Stone. After falling while fighting an enemy, I raise Raging Tiger's power to level 8. I get back up and jump across to the final orb. Lighting it opens a door further on. I go through the hallway next to it to get slowed down by another statue. I break it and the door I unseal takes me to another room where I get sealed in. Kill them all again. More red stones and I finish the stage. Redstone total is now 786. Lava River is a new option now, but first a challenge stage. In this, Blue Dragon Sword time goes up to level 9, that's all. Clearing this one does reward me with a Turbulent River Sword though, redstones at 860. Lava River is next. I start by breaking open the path in front of me and taking the path forward. Right away I'm sealed off by a statue. I destroy it right away and move forward. I end up in this tall room where I drop down to the bottom and break a statue for a Timely Rain sword. I jump across the platforms to a door and then off to the left to light an orb. I then go through the door. There's a fork here, the right has red stones and a sealed door, the left takes me to the orb that unseals it when lit. Through the door I get sealed in again. Kill and move forward. In the next room I raise Raging Tiger's Heir to level 9. I climb up to a higher level where I find a Phoenix Stone in the statue. I take the corridor to another breakable wall. It leads to another room that seals me in. Kill all and move on to another tall room. At the bottom there's an orb hidden away that I can light, and sword time lets me skip the platform into each a second that unseals the door that finishes the stage. Redstone total is now 879. I have another new option for stage 10, Fires of the Hell. Lei Yun reaches an obvious boss arena and stares at what looks like a giant egg in the middle before the room starts shaking. It turns out to be, I guess, some sort of Cyclops spider? Its main attack is breathing fire. It has a separate smaller eye that travels around several different spots on its body. This boss is balanced for you having the absolute sword, so it takes less damage in sword time than the others. After taking enough damage, it will spawn giant eyeball worms to kill. It takes longer, but the absolute sword still makes it easy. That's it, and I'm 891 red stones. Stage 11 has me going through Mystic Bound again. It turns out Dragon Stones are not a one-time thing, as I pick this one up for a second time and it works. I also raise Blue Dragon Sword time to level max, fully leveling that sword. At the end of that stage, I also max out Flaming Phoenix by raising its heir to level max, redstones at 933. A challenge stage before I revisit Evil Flower. Nothing much happens, but finishing it gets me the Cloudy Dragon Sword. Raging Tiger's sword time goes up to level max. Red stones maxed out at 999, so I don't have to bring them up anymore. Skip Evil Flower, nothing new happens. Same with Six Eyes. Still can't do Battle of a Hero because I'm missing some weapons, so I'm repeating Yaki Lair. Raging Tiger's heir goes to level max in here. 5 minutes later, its power goes up to level 9. That's all. Repeating Netherworld Palace next. After fighting the big group of giants, I max out all Swords of Yi by raising Raging Tiger's power to level max. Just one less thing for me to keep an eye out for while I skim through replay footage of old levels. The rest of this stage and my repeat of Divine Swords has nothing new, and I finish a second playthrough. Finishing the game with 999 red stones unlocks the Infinity Sword. Well, time for playthrough 3. First the challenge stage again. The Infinity Sword once again changes Lei Yun's appearance into a more generic monk robe outfit. This sword grants unlimited dragon power, so I spam it until all enemies are dead. I stick with this for the rest of my playthroughs. Next I repeat Burning Passage again. After crossing the gap after finding the Silver Dragon Key, I can take a right and jump over the wall to a statue containing the two-headed snake sword. Skip ahead to stage 4. Now I have that sword I can finally choose Labyrinth of the Dragon. Right in front of me there's an orb that when lit extends out a platform further on. It lets me get to another orb that extends the platforms to a door. In the next room I get sealed in and dragon power them all to death. Through the next door is a spike-filled hallway leading to a room with 2 statues. I deal with them and go through the next door. More hallways to another sealed room, go through the door when they're all dead. More hallways to a locked door, then more hallways to a statue that seals the path forward. Breaking it gets me a golden dragon key, but the path back is still sealed. So I have more hallways to a switch that opens a wall leading back to the door so I can unlock it. But I get an idea and take the next hallway again, and the room previously sealed by the statue gets another normal seal instead. Breaking it unseals another hallway on the way back leading to a statue containing the Strike Eagle sword. While checking out my inventory, I see that I also picked up the Pilgrim Blade without realising. Even watching these hours of footage back, I still missed the part where an enemy dropped it. I then unlock the door and go through. It's a hallway to a sealed room with an orb that creates platforms when lit. The platforms lead to an orb that creates platforms to the statue causing the seal. This one's a pain because sword time keeps getting me stuck under the platform, unable to hit the statue, but I eventually break it and move on. Another hallway to another door. Another seal and more orbs that create platforms that take me higher up the room. Lighting them all unseals the door out, but it seals itself again when more enemies appear. They're all level infinity, which means they have way too much fucking health. I kill them all and go through the door. It's another hallway to the end of the stage. Fuck this stage. I wish I hadn't already used the term corridor purgatory in my description for the Hulk video, because this takes it to the next level. I thought secret unlockable levels were supposed to be fun or provide a unique challenge. This was the most tedious level in the game. I tried compressing it as much as I could while still making sense, but that was 20 minutes of running through mostly identical hallways. Dragon Penetralia, Perfivid Tunnel, Mausoleum and White Darkness happen next with nothing new other than me recollecting old stones to increase my bars. While replaying Cloister, I get a Unicorn Dragon Hammer from a giant, just 5 weapons left. Still can't do Battle on the Beams and the description still isn't giving me any hints. Then nothing happens through Eternal Tower and Enter of Netherworld. While passing through Mystic Bound, I find that my health is maxed out and Dragon Stones no longer do anything. Same with my Dragon Power and Phoenix Stones. Nothing else happens. About 30 seconds into the challenge stage I do after, I get an Iron Flute Blade. Then Evil Flower, Six Eyes and Gaki Lair go by with nothing new. During Netherworld Palace, a giant drops a Thunderbolt Hammer. Free to go. Then the rest of my third playthrough has nothing new. Nothing happens in my fourth playthrough until all the way at stage 9 where a giant in Cloister drops me a little Duke Hammer. For some reason I'm finally able to start Battle on the Beams and I still don't know why. This one starts me off back in the main hall from Cloister. If you remember, I never actually got to enter the door I unsealed at the end of that stage, as the stage finished when I went through the door leading back here. The door leads to a room sealed with 3 statues. Once the seal is gone, it leads into another room with exits to the left and right and a pair of orbs up in the beams that are already lit. The room to the left seals me in. Breaking it gets me a golden dragon key. It also unlights the orbs. Lighting them both again breaks a pair of seals everywhere. I return to the left room to get sealed back in with a level infinity Gyaki. That's all, and killing it unseals the room. I then take the right path to reach the golden door. Up the stairs and I get sealed in the next room. Breaking the seal lets me exit the level. Okay, so this was like 2 new screens long? Why was this hidden behind some obscure objective? The rest of my fourth playthrough has nothing new. My next recording starts partially into another playthrough a couple days later. I can't remember if this is my 5th or even 6th playthrough anymore. By this point, if the recording didn't contain a new level or me getting one of those last 2 weapons, I just deleted it for space. During a replay of Lava River, a Gyaki drops the Black Tornado Blade, just 1 left. Annoying thing is that there isn't even a list of all the weapons' names out there, so I'm checking the menu after every weapon I pick up because I can't keep all their names in my head. Eventually, I figure out that the type the last weapon belongs to is dropped by enemies in the Gyaki lair, so I repeat the level endlessly and reset when the weapon doesn't drop. Eventually one of them finally decides to drop the Mighty Strategy Blade and I now own all Gyaki weapons. That was some Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 RNG bullshit. At this point I've done between 7 and 9 full playthroughs of the game, and guess what? Battle of the Hero is only an option at the same time as Gyaki Lair. I got the last weapon in Gyaki Lair, so I had to do another full playthrough to get back to this point. I took the quickest route that had me playing the smallest amount of stages, also skipping the challenge stages since I don't need them anymore. Now I can finally start Battle of the Hero. I start with 3 doors in front of me, all sealed. I kill all the enemies and take the left door. I run through the hallway, lighting the orb on the way. It leads to another room with another orb to light. It makes a statue appear and seals off the room. I destroy the statue and go down the next hallway to light another orb. The door at the end puts me back in the first room, out the middle door. The room is sealed again and I have to kill a level infinity enemy to unseal the right door. Another hallway leading to another door, but it's sealed, so halfway through I jump up to a higher level to break open a wall and go down the stairs behind it to an orb that unseals it. And that was it. Around 10 playthroughs dealing with this game's random drop bullshit for a 7-minute level with a very basic enemy rush and easy platforming. Not worth the time at all. It doesn't even skip a stage, you still have to do both Gyaki Lair and Netherworld Palace. I beat the game yet again. Clearing either just Battle of the Hero or all levels in a save file unlocks the ability to rewatch cutscenes in the extras menu. And that was Swords of Destiny. Despite all the whining I did, I don't think this was a bad game. Dull a lot of the time and below average, but not lower quality than other games in my below average section of the ranking like Sonic Drift. The game starts off fine enough, but then levels get unbearably long and enemies with so much health that killing just one becomes tedious. Like, the combat is fine at best, but isn't good enough to justify how long the fights went. And all the extra levels they put in the New Game Plus were almost all boring endless hallways and not worth playing the game again, never mind the almost 10 playthroughs of those weapons. And I think you may have been able to tell if you watched all of this that this game is one of the most frustrating scripts I've written so far. I feel the developers at Artoon really wanted to try their own spin at Devil May Cry, but just couldn't get it right. It's a shame, because when I played those first 3 or so levels, I did see potential in the game, but as the game went on, it was slowly wasted.